Electrocast.
Why wait to see if you'll get something you like this Valentine's Day when you can go to BlueNile.com and find something you'll love? Whether you're looking to treat yourself to a little winter sparkle or show a galentine how much you appreciate them, Blue Nile offers a wide selection of high-quality designs, expert guidance, and free 30-day returns for the ultimate peace of mind. You can even design your own jewelry. Right now, save up to 50% at BlueNile.com. That's BlueNile.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the power. I mean, we rank teams in this, you know. We rank who they are, and we dig down into the specifics and the nitty-gritty of what these teams are capable of doing, down to the position sometimes. Like, that's the concept. But that I've been thinking about this week, now that we're in sort of the throes of the football season, I'm here with my usual co-host, the real BK Bob Kelly, and no one else. That we're in sort of the winter of our discontent with this. The atmosphere has faded. We're excited that the football season is back anymore. We're sort of slipping into it like a pair of shoes. We're this point last season for different reasons. We're, you know, measuring our takes and like trying to get stuff right. And obviously, when we're zoomed in, like you and I have to be in order to make this show the quality piece of American manufacturing for all those lovely, beautiful ears out there, we have to dig into why, how these teams are good or bad. Just want to say, privilege, share in the camaraderie that is the NFL season. And just before we start the show, if we zoom out like the Men in Black ending, you know, just keep going out until the NFL is a city, and then you zoom out to the earth, and then you zoom out to the galaxy, and then to the solar system, and then to the farthest limits of human imagination. If we zoom out, what I learned is that this can be a much shorter show every week. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback, and the best quarterback wins Super Bowls. And I think this constant fourth, Bob, that you and I have had about like, do quarterbacks suck now? Senor Tom Brady has said as much this week.
Echoing our point, bro.
Yeah, of course,
let's go.
Finally, if you've caught up there, Tom. I mean, you were never very fast. You know, you just had that.
It was just, yeah.
But I have to say, like, I think there's, especially now that Joe has, sadly, I might add, very disappointing Bengals season that I think we can now
team, right? That's the season
tough
for the
one
team for sure.
A lot of bad luck. I think Burrow came into this, and I mean, I don't know, like, you know, when hindsight's 2020, it's 2020, and maybe we're calling this season a walk. You don't like to send a guy in at 70% because what ends up happening is this. Are there more injuries this season? I feel injury played season. I'm like, I bet it's the same amount. Or her original hypothesis. It seems to be happening to much higher profile players this season.
It's exactly what it is. Yeah, it's all high. It's all high profile.
Just
another big guy going down. Every
Trick hasn't played in weeks. Got hurt week 1. Burrow.
Jefferson's been out.
Yeah, he's
for a few weeks.
McCaffrey will go every few weeks.
Cousins out.
Mark Andrews went down in the same.
Yep. Lamar almost went out in that same game.
You said Deshaun.
Deshaun's out. No,
Big
I didn't say
Chubb.
Watson. Chubb with Florida State injury. This is even worse.
I mean, listen, Sniper has been aiming for officers. So if you got a bright white hat on the wall, he's looking for you. So these are the guys, Bob, that are supposed to shape the next. Your Aaron Rodgers is like to make that Jets team pretty good. And I think we've seen flashes of that Jets team where it was like, oh, you inevitably think, oh, what if Aaron instead of this dildo, Zach Wilson?
Yeah.
I mean, they have a pretty likely over there in New York. I think Rodgers might have actually been able. He was kind of styling on that first drive before he went down for the season too. So I don't know. And as much as we've said, there's a dearth of quality at the quarterback position. There's even less. There's even more like QBs now. And to me, as much as and we'll Bills and the Chiefs, to me, I saw Pat Mahomes. We're recording this on Tuesday, the night after Monday Night Football. And I was just watching him play. I was just watching him like throw the ball. And the way the ball comes off is that he's able to make him move in the air. The way he decides which person. I think 100% with Pat Mahomes right now. He's got it all just completely dialed in. But he's around him. Brothers, dumb, like the idiot Olympics, where they all just at the end. And I was fucking beside myself last night watching Patrick Mahomes have to deal with that gang of morons. Companion, Travis Kelce was coughing up fucking easy. He would usually break off for another 15 yards. So I guess my point to you is, and I'm the thing to talk about. We can go through 10-1, but I think he's the best. And I think that's why they're still going to win the Super Bowl. Because it's still it's just everyone sucks.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah, to me, the best wide receiver I've ever seen in my lifetime. A lot of people would say Randy Moss if they had my lifetime. For me, it was Calvin Johnson. And what Calvin Johnson did, apart from all of his physical gifts, is he always dragged the fucking ball in. Like he was just dragging the ball.
He was always open. He was always. That's what his catch radius was the best I've ever seen in my life.
It was bananas. Like I like watching Calvin Johnson, and he played for the fucking Lions. Like I didn't want to like him.
I saw him. He went off against the Cowboys. Once for I think it was the 10 for 302 game.
Yeah.
He had 300 yards receiving.
But weren't they all like 6-yard throws? Like he was just like bringing it down and just turning the corner and just turning the corner every time, and it was like nobody could fucking tackle him. And it was just I saw Gronk have a couple of those, to be honest. And those were really fun to watch. Like those were just fun to watch. Like I just love guys who like catch and run the ball like that. They're just bigger.
But that's what's so frustrating too, though, is like we even have some of the best playmakers now that we've had in a long time. Like you look at the wide receiver class, and it's really pretty stacked, but none of them are with elite quarterbacks. The elite quarterbacks have shitty weapons, or they're on shitty teams, and it's just like it doesn't make sense what's going on right now.
Who's your wide receiver 3? His name's like Brooks.
Cooks. Yeah, the guy used to be. He was in New England. He was in St. Louis.
Love that guy. Love that guy.
Yeah, he's good.
I would have a wide receiver room full of that guy. I would have a 1 through 5 full of that guy. I think you could design a great offense with that. He's just like a trier. He just tries.
Yeah, he's so willing to take the big hit too, which is so big. Yeah, he
tough, gets up right away.
It's got him in trouble if you remember. He has the biggest hit.
Along nicely.
He has the biggest hit in Super Bowl history when he was playing. I think it was against the Rams, where he just got laid out, bro. Yeah.
He's
little. On the Pats.
He's little, but he's spry, dude.
He's on the Saints for a long time, bro. He's been in the league a while.
Zay Flowers,
he's my guy.
Zay Flowers, fucking best skill guy to ever come out of BC. Easily the best skill guy to ever come out of BC. I'm not really a BC guy, but I know
William Green, bro. William Green.
No, it's definitely Zay Flowers. I put Zay Flowers in contention for best player to come out of BC. I bet there's like 17 left guards I'm not thinking about, because like every year it's like left tackles. I mean, they put a few in, but like that's a luxury position. I feel like the amount of like guards that the BC has produced, it's always like second round, 15th pick. Joe Schmo from fucking Boston College. And I would probably put him over Matt Ryan at this point, because Matt Ryan lost the most embarrassing Super Bowl comeback in history. So I don't even know if you would want him. Just high profile championship losses on Matt Ryan's resume, like the Virginia Tech game and then the Super Bowl loss against the Patriots.
He won the Virginia Tech game. And
did he win that one?
Yeah, he won the Virginia
Oh,
Tech
but he
game
lost in the
and
final.
then
Yeah, he
lost
Yeah,
lost the
yeah.
next
Of course,
week,
of course,
lost
of
the next
course.
week to NC State or something fucking stupid like that.
Yeah. You did the hard part. You're right. Apologies for not remembering Matt Ryan's career correctly right there. It's actually a sin where I come from. What the fuck were we talking? Oh, we were just naming good wide receivers. Okay. Back to the power rankings. I don't want people to think that this is gonna like ruin our enjoyment for the rest of the season now that we've like seen the ending. I know that we've just like shown everyone the ending. And I think that's okay because I think we can Tarantino it a little bit,
I was just gonna say we're gonna go back, bro. We're gonna be back,
and we're gonna
we're gonna
piece
end up in
together
the
like
diner
how
at
it
the end.
happens. We're gonna piece together how it happens on this show.
Honey bunny.
Yeah,
We're gonna 100%. Walk the earth.
And that, Bobby, is what we're gonna do tonight. We're gonna do it a little different. We're gonna put every team in the top 10. Now that we're going into week 12 of the NFL season. We've only got a few games left. But you yourself said that this power rankings was the least changed power rankings from last week that you've done.
Yeah.
So here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to go forth with this top 10. And I'd like to create a narrative, much like we do at the end with the 4 teams, right? But in a more expanded way. We're going to create a narrative of how each one of these teams, excuse me. Oh, I just burped into all the listeners' lovely ears. So sorry.
Nice.
Oh, it felt so good though.
It's like Rick. That's what we're doing. It's a Rick vibe.
I'll take a Rick comparison. I love that guy. I'm a toxic white man. I love Rick Sanchez.
Me too. He's my favorite.
He was made for me.
I had a mushroom trip where I talked to Rick once. It was pretty fucking cool.
That sounds fucking great, bro.
It was awesome. It was fun.
We all have a Rick and a Morty inside us, and it's all about not listening to the Morty.
Search on Reddit people that have done hallucinogenics and talked to Rick, and it's like, bro, the rabbit hole gets deep, and there's some weird shit with Rick that goes.
Rick's real.
That gets naked, bro. It's wild. It's wild. Okay. Some wild shit.
Sounds wild. So we're gonna take this top 10. We've talked about the Bengals. I'm gonna.
They would be here. So let's just.
If Joe Burrow wasn't hurt, but
if Joe Burrow wasn't hurt, even with the loss this past week, I think if Burrow was still there, they would be on this list over the Browns, right? Over the Browns. Yeah. Burrow being out though, that's it. That's it.
Yeah. No, they're done. And we gave them the respect. We gave them their due because, we're not going to hear about Jamar Chase. We're not going to see what they would have looked like if T. Higgins got healthy. We're not going to have the narrative now of, is their offensive line holding up better? Was Burrow hurt for the first few weeks and now he's like coming back and styling on everybody? They're going to, if they beat the teams that they need to beat, what does their playoff picture look like? Like, we can't do any of that now. So it's honestly, it's a sad moment. Like, RIP the Bengals season. I genuinely think they've been one of the more fun, if not the most fun team to throw a wrench in the works of the already established narrative of the NFL season over the last few seasons. Like, they've been the kind of one hope of dethroning the Kansas City Chiefs. And then these other super teams coming up, like how good the Eagles look at times, how good the Ravens look at times, how good the 49ers look at times. You had this great, but there's still Joey B. He could still come.
They had the swag, man. They had that swag, bro.
Yeah. And honestly, like I'm my heart breaks for them, to be honest. And for us, as content creators about the National Football League. But I have to say,
the fucking Bengals always ended up bangling, man. It's like
Bengals be bangling. But I will say this, Joey B. Is the second best quarterback in the league when healthy. And that would have been part of the who's the best QB. That's what matters conversation. So there still would have been a guy in the running, but we're still going to Tarantino it. Listeners, don't worry about it. I'm also going to forgo talking about the Bills. And I'm going to tell you why by talking about the Bills. But I'm going to forego spending an inordinate amount of time on them because I'm still, even after a big win over the Jets, I'm still not convinced. I do think the Jets have a good defense, and I think laying down like 36 points against that defense is an achievement. But I'm not ready to talk about them until they look less of a joke, like on a more consistent basis. All right, like they need to get their act together if I'm going to talk to them. It was a good divisional win, but they need to get their fucking act together. And if we're going to spend tonight creating a narrative for every team on this list and what their path is to the Super Bowl and how they fucking win it, right? I'm not including them in that. They haven't earned it. So clearly they haven't by not being in the fucking power rankings.
It's a wild season that we're in, that the Bills haven't earned even our conversation to go to the.
But I mean, the legacy of them earned the disclaimer, and their potential upside earned the disclaimer.
Agreed.
But as far as the football they're playing right now, I was pretty disinterested in that Jets-Bills game. I don't know about you. It felt like none of my business if we're going into the latter tilts of the season.
What's crazy, though, is like once we get to the actual playoffs, right? If the Bills do end up sneaking in.
Are they going to be there?
If they sneak in and they end up as like a 6 or a 7 seed, I might be putting some good money on the Bills to pull an upset at like a plus 170 on the road, bro.
Can I tell you something?
Sounds pretty juicy to me.
Can I tell you something?
Sounds pretty juicy to me.
Can I tell you something? Can I give you some good advice?
Yeah.
If you put good money on the Bills, it immediately becomes bad money. I just want you to know that. That's how it works. I really do maintain, if you swear by any gambling philosophy, try mine. It's, do I trust these fucking idiots not to lose my money? And when I look at the Buffalo Bills, I sure don't. I sure don't trust them.
Fair.
Now, when I bet on the Burrow healthy Cincinnati Bengals and I lost that money in the Ravens game and watched Joe Burrow go down, I was happy enough to lose that money because that was good money. That was smart money. I trust Joey B. Joey B's fucking come through for me in the past. When I betted on Josh Allen, I only have myself to blame, Robert. I only have myself to blame when I bet my hard-earned dollars, my simoleons on JA and the fucking Buffalo Bills and the ground game that never was, and the ghost of Christmas ground game, and the trick or treat ass fucking nature. So by not talking about the Bills, here we are talking about the Bills. You fucking.
Was that a Sims reference?
Yeah, it was a Sims reference. Simoleons. Dag.
That was good. That was good, bro.
We're going to talk about the Cleveland Browns, the Deshaun Watson-less Cleveland Browns that managed to snatch a victory from the jaws of my Sunday by beating the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like, I want to talk about the Browns. I really do think that their defense is super legit, and we will talk about that. But for God's sake,
can Joe Flacco save the fucking?
For God's sake,
is that really where we're gonna be?
That's not a team that's going to do anything.
In 2 weeks, though, that's where we're going to be in this NFL season. I just want everyone to wrap their heads around that fact that in 2 weeks, we're going to be dealing with a storyline of, can Joe Flacco save the Cleveland Browns season?
That's what we're doing.
That is a real fucking thing that 2023 is going to bring into people's lives. Just be ready for it.
We're about to do it to them right now. I mean, we're about to walk them through how it works. So come with me on this fucking journey. Can
he really still throw? Can he really still throw the ball? How old is he? He's 41, right?
Oh my God, is he 41? He couldn't throw the ball when he was 31.
That's what I mean, man. What the fuck, man? There's
no
one else out there.
The Browns beat the Steelers to go to 7-3. Next week they play the Broncos.
He's 38. I overestimate.
Does Joe Flacco take the Cleveland Browns in the dead of fucking winter, right? The end of November, into Denver, and beat a sort of resurgent Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos? Like, I wouldn't even say the Broncos are totally out of the realm of possibility of making this list.
That's fucking wild.
Like, am I crazy to say that?
The defense went from letting up 70 points to like looking pretty good.
But they're at 500 right now. Like,
yeah,
should we do a little bonus moment where we see what the rest of the Broncos season looks like, and if they can get into the playoffs and what their path to the Super Bowl looks like? Because
open it up.
Let's do it. All right, fuck yeah. So let's talk about the Broncos. Pulling them up.
I like this. We're going over I like this.
The Broncos beat the Vikings 21-20. To improve to 5-5. Weird game, but that they won. To improve to 5-5 on the season, they're at 500. Guess who they play first? The Browns. This is who we were talking about. I think the Broncos win this game. I think
I
the
think they
Broncos
could.
win this game.
I think they could for sure.
That improves them to 6-5. Then they play the Texans, another kind of fiery, plucky team. Let me point something out to you, though. I know the Texans won. I know they beat the Cardinals. If they were really the Cardinals, if they were really the Texans team that you think, they wouldn't have had such trouble. CJ Stroud had an ugly, ugly game.
It wasn't that we'll get to it.
It was ugly as fuck. The first
Wasn't
half,
that
the
there's
first
one
half was nice.
the one interception was ugly. The one interception was ugly.
He threw two. And I think he fumbled once.
He threw three. He threw three.
Okay.
Yeah, he threw three.
3 turnovers.
He had like 340 yards and like it was.
He had a bad second half, but they won the game.
He's still a rookie, bro.
Okay, no, I'd see. Don't turn this into I'm attacking CJ Stroud. We're trying to do how do the Broncos get to the playoffs?
Don't come after my boy, bro.
No, it's not. You gotta listen to me. It's not CJ Stroud sucks. It's how do the Broncos get to the playoffs? CJ Stroud has to suck. So if in this hypothetical they beat the Browns because the Browns have Joe Flacco in there and Joe Flacco can't do it.
And Justin Simmons goes crazy.
Yeah. Right. And then they go into the Texans. They travel away to the Texans, and it turns out they're this gritty team that are now 7-5 because CJ Stroud had another bad day where he threw 3 fucking interceptions. Because we've seen it happen now, so we know it's in the realm of possibility. I'm sorry that hurts your feelings so much, but we have to get the Broncos to the fucking Super Bowl, Bobby, and I need the win. I need this win. All right. It's the most realistic one because the stretch. Well, I think we can do it. They then play the Chargers, who I think we all agree are not good. I think the Chargers may have fired their coach by this point. I think the Chargers may have fired their coach.
They haven't done it yet, though. So, like,
they haven't fired fucking Matt Canada yet,
Yeah, that's fair.
Steelers fired Matt Canada this morning. Some reports say the news hasn't gotten to him yet because he was up in the crow's nest. So we're now at 7-5, and we play the Chargers. Can the Broncos beat the Chargers? Here's what I'll say. I think they're definitely going to lose one of the first 3 games we've mentioned, the Browns, the Texans, or the Chargers. So can we say that they improve to 7-6 across these 3 games?
I'll give them 7-6.
Great. We're agreed. I shouldn't have come at CJ Stroud like that. I'm sorry. I know. It's a great take by you. I'm not deciding that CJ Stroud sucks. Don't pout. I'm not describing it. I wasn't doing that. I'm just trying to get the Texans to enough wins
Hurt my feelings
to get to the Super Bowl. I didn't mean to. I've been nothing but complimentary about your CJ Stroud take. I've championed it, and I've used it to prop up the validity of the fucking show we do every week. Okay. I wouldn't attack it. I wouldn't attack the fucking pillar of this season, which is like you're on a hot streak with your
That's
take.
fair.
I'm just trying to get your take needs to cool if we're getting the Broncos.
To go to the Broncos. It's fair. Okay.
The Lions, their next 4.
They're losing to the Lions.
Their next 4 are Lions, Patriots, Chargers again, Raiders.
They can't score enough points to beat the Lions.
They're probably going 2-2 in that 4-game run.
So the thing with the Broncos is they haven't scored more than 21 points in any of these wins. So.
Okay. So I think if they go 2-2 in the last 4, that puts them at. Hold on, they're at 500 right now. So we go
9-8. If we can get them to 9-8, I think they have a shot at the 7th seed.
Okay, 9-8, and I think you're right. I think you can. I think someone maybe
have a shot, right,
with 9-8. So say that happens.
Maybe 10-7, but 9-8 is the bare minimum. You can't be less than 9-8. Yeah.
All right. So say they get to 9-8, which is what we've decided is an actual realistic. They win 2 out of their next 3, and then 2 out of their next 4 after that. That's all they have to do. They have to win 4 more games to get them to 9-8, right? And we think it's possible. So they go to the wild card round, right? Who do they play?
They're not winning any wild card games. They're not beating any.
Who are they playing?
The Ravens. The Ravens probably. If they're the 7, they're playing the Ravens because the Ravens are going to be the 2. Or are the Ravens going to be the 1 where they play the Chiefs? I guess they've already beaten the Chiefs.
Guys, we tried to get the Broncos to the Super Bowl and we valiantly failed. But we like Don Quixote. We charged at the windmill that life gave us. We tried to climb the mountain that was said by all mountain climbers to be unclimbable. We tried. It's the effort that counts, man. And we now have to say it's not going to happen. We're now we got to do the Browns. Are you ready?
Okay, so they beat the Broncos.
So
7-4.
the
7 and
Browns
4.
need to beat the Broncos to improve to
Right.
7-4.
7-4.
They need to beat I think they lose one of their next 3 as well. So I think they lose to either the Broncos, the Rams, or the Jags. So that's 2 wins.
2-1 that stretch. I'll give them 2-1 that stretch. Yeah, I think they beat the Rams, beat the Broncos.
That puts them at 9-4. So they're in good shape. They're in good shape. Then they play the Bears, the Texans, the Jets, and the Bengals. I'd say they probably only lose one of the next 4 games, but we could hedge and say they lose 2 of those next 4 games.
I mean, they could end the season, what,
I think
11 or 12 if they get competent. So that's their big thing right now is they got to get competent quarterback play. You know what I mean? Like they can't. What he did this last week is fine. DTR, he's not awesome. I don't know what's going to end up happening if Flacco starts or if he starts. I don't know what the plan is, but they
already had their bye week, right? So like no breaks.
Yeah, no, I think they're going straight through from here. So I mean, they just can't. They can't have be losing the games, bro. And
they kind of okay. I'll say this though, they kind of already did okay with a Deshaun Watson-less.
Yeah, they did
lineup and a Nick Chubb-less lineup. Like if they get to 11 wins with their starting QB and their stud fucking star running back, that's actually like super fucking impressive. Yeah. I'd say probably 10 wins is more realistic at this point. But either way,
it's also possible they collapse, right? It's also possible they collapse.
I mean, I honestly wouldn't blame them if they fucking collapsed, to be honest with you. But
it's funny to me that they traded away. I'll reiterate this forever. I read this on, I think it was Reddit, that they traded away a quarterback that they ran out of town for playing with a torn bicep for 7 weeks and like did everything for the city, got them to the playoffs and all this shit for a guy that fucking sat out for 3 weeks who was kind of hurt and then is now out for the season. And then like Baker Mayfield's kind of doing all right in Tampa Bay.
Well, I mean, that whole narrative would be stronger if Baker played in the last 5 weeks like he played in the first 2. But yeah, I mean,
it was in those 2 weeks he was playing well that I read.
Well, I mean, let's think about this. Like they have that many wins, and you look at the rest of the field that they would like potentially see coming down the pipe in a first round game, right?
They can't beat the elite of the NFL without someone. Right.
Yeah, but where they are, they might be playing the Texans. They might be playing the Bills. They might be playing the Steelers.
Yeah, so they're going to be the top wild card team, right? So they'll be playing, or what are the top 2 wild card teams? So they'll be playing like either the Texans or the Jags, or
the Jags,
or I guess
if the Colts have
the Dolphins, they could end up playing the Dolphins, maybe.
Okay, so I think they could beat the. No, they can't beat the Dolphins.
They can't beat the Dolphins. They can't score enough points. They can't score. That's the thing is like they have to play a team. They would have to play the Ravens and just absolutely.
But in this scenario, can I
absolutely demolish Lamar and just not let him do anything? You know what I mean? It would have to be one of those scenarios.
No, I hear you. But like in this scenario, they've somehow gotten to 11 wins. Like how have they done that? That means they figured something out, right?
That's true.
Like they've gotten somewhere and figured something out. And like I feel like Myles Garrett is the definitive defensive player of the year at this point.
Yeah,
and I hate to say
it's already over. It's over. It's over.
I think it's done. And if he is still playing out of his fucking skull like that, and he just tortures Lamar Jackson in the
That's
first
what I mean.
playoffs,
I could see that.
And Lamar Jackson turns into the playoff guy that Mike insists that he is, right? Where it's like, oh, once he gets to the playoffs, he kind of melts. And when you have Myles Garrett just like in full playoff mode, coming at you like a psychopath in like full G'd up playoff mode because they somehow got to 10 or 11 wins, maybe even 12 wins, you were saying.
I think they could beat the Chiefs too. The Chiefs can be stopped now. Listen, when you have a world beater like that, the only teams that can beat, like, that's why I don't think
Did you see the Chiefs defense last night? Did you see the Chiefs defense last night? Were you not a little convinced by that? Their pass
rush. The Browns could beat them fucking 3-0 with the wide receivers they have. I don't know.
You know, they still have Pat Mahomes, dude. Like you're like, I would love to see the stats of like the last time somebody held Patrick Mahomes to like less than a touchdown. And that's what they would need to do to beat the Chiefs. If they're gonna beat the Chiefs have to score 6 points or less.
We'll get to the Chiefs.
Well, their path to the Super Bowl is gonna be a lot easier. All right. So we've gotten them through the first round.
Browns aren't winning the Super Bowl.
They die at the Chiefs though. They die in the conference game, the conference championship game, which is pretty good. I think we got a path to the conference championship game, right? Because
if they run into the Dolphins,
well, we skipped a step because I think the Dolphins are a team that they could maybe beat because they could drag them into the trenches. That's what they've been doing, and that's what beats the Dolphins.
That's true.
That's what they've been doing. I
guess
they're gonna play that. If they're gonna win a game, like legitimately, you know what tape I would show them? I fucking can't believe I'm about to say this. I can't fucking believe I'm about to say this. I can't believe this is about to leave my fucking lips right now. I would show them tape of the Tim Tebow Denver Broncos. I'd be like, smash mouth football. This and just Chris Collinsworth. Just get
God on your side. Get God on your side and
just have Chris Collinsworth voice his voice pumping into the halls of your team.
I love this guy.
Tim Tebow has come in here with philosophy of smash mouth football. This is old school, Al. This is something that we haven't seen in the NFL for
how bad
decades.
He was
old
for
guys
quarters
like me liked it. Old guys like me used to play like this. But I'll tell you something. I love it. I love that we're seeing it.
Marion Barber made the war of Tim Tebow real for running out of bounds, bro. You remember? I know you remember. Yeah, he brought the lore on by himself. He ran out of bounds twice.
Wasn't it twice in a row?
I was twice.
Wasn't it twice, bro?
It was twice.
Marion Barber was my boy.
They made it so much farther in the playoffs that year than they should have, though.
Demaryius Thomas.
Yeah, bro.
They just did.
It's funny. That was another one where it was like the Josh Dobbs thing where I called that shit early where I was like, Tim Tebow's gonna do some shit. And I'm like, he did. And then he did. And I was just like, oh, shit.
He kind of didn't, though. Like, it was like, everybody knew it was a fucking gimmick, though. Like, everybody knew.
That's one of the biggest proofs I've ever seen of the NFL being rigged, honestly, in my entire life. Because, bro, he was 2 for 18 for 7 yards after 3 quarters. And then all of a sudden would be 14 for 14.
You know what my favorite
bro, what?
Sort of on this note of shit like this working for longer than it should. My favorite thing that Bill Belichick ever did was go to Miami that time and be like, listen, the Wildcat is not a legitimate formation that you can use on every fucking play. And I'm going to absolutely embarrass all of you right now. And everyone's going to have the exact tape on how you beat the Wildcat. And now you can do it once every 5 games, maybe.
Do you remember when Bill Belichick went to Buffalo and passed the ball? What was it? Once? Twice?
Yeah.
And won?
Just to prove a point. Just to prove a point. This is how short people's memories are. Saying Bill Belichick was never really a good coach. The best thing about him was when he would get mad at teams and run up the score or style on them or be like, dude, you guys don't act like you guys run a real team over here. This is not a real team. I'm about to show you some shit. And I'll say this, dude, the Patriots every year created a narrative that they were not as good and weren't going to win. And that's what's happening to the Chiefs right now. It's but
it really
what about
is funny that's what happens, yeah.
What about this thing? He doesn't have any receivers. That was literally one of the narratives.
And they lost that year, though. They lost that year.
I know, but then what if Mahomes does it? It's because then everyone's
listen, I told
without any receivers, Brady couldn't do it.
I said this at the beginning of the year that there's a path of Mahomes' career where he ends up better than Brady, and there's Bro, it's absolutely lined up.
That's stupid.
It's real though.
It's not.
It's not though. It's not.
No, we did it at the start, and we did what we're doing tonight. We did the path to how it happens. We did it with Mike. Do you remember? We did the path to how he becomes, and he has to win so many fucking Super Bowls.
There's a lot of Super Bowls,
and then within that, he has to have the best comeback in the history of the Super Bowl.
But when you look at it though, the division is already setting up to be exactly what fucking Tom Brady had as the AFC East, or that AFC West. We'll get there. Sorry. That AFC West is garbage.
But
it's
have
garbage.
You ever? Can I ask you a
hot
question?
garbage, up and down?
We will get to the Chiefs, but can I just point out? Have you ever watched a team lose and then leave the game with this much more faith in their ability to win the Super Bowl. Like I watched them lose that game and I walked away being like, oh, they're going to win the Super Bowl. Oh, they're 100% going to win the Super Bowl, because I think they proved that they were better than the Eagles because of Pat Mahomes. And if you just catch the stupid fucking ball,
they just need someone to catch the fucking ball.
They'll figure that out. They'll figure that out.
All right,
you know what I love?
going.
You know what I love?
I know the show is about the Eagles and the Chiefs. Okay, I know it is because it's been about the Eagles and as much. It's funny because as much as we try and make the show about other teams, it always comes for 2 years now. It's always come back to the Eagles and the Chiefs. Those are the two.
It's funny because I think it's about the Cowboys and the Bears. To be 100% honest with you, like how I look at this show is this is our Cowboys and Bears show. And sometimes those teams
we're gonna get that
force us to talk about other teams.
That's fair.
But hey, and the Steelers, I actually just like to score points.
You want to talk about the Bears? We talk about the Bears, everyone.
I think that they're fucking losing games on purpose. There's no way.
Did they just lose that game up?
They were like, oh, we're up. We were gonna win this game. Justin
3
Fields
minutes.
really good. Justin Fields looked really good, and then all of a sudden
they kept my parlay alive for me.
They were like,
I
all right,
complained about it, and they were like, all right, Brad.
Go ahead. They were like, oh, Monty, go ahead. Go ahead.
3 minutes, man.
I gave your dad a whooping in fantasy football because of the late Monty touchdown. And I was like, it's bittersweet. I also want the pick. I want the higher pick now at this point, obviously.
Two of them. Panthers keep losing too, bro.
I'm telling you something, bro. I'm telling you something right now. I'm sticking with Fields.
It's setting up like Madden, bro.
I'm sticking with Fields. I'm pushing all my fucking chips into the middle. I'm fucking sticking with Justin Fields.
Getting some linemen, bro. You going linemen, getting some.
I want Marvin Harrison Jr. and the best left tackle in the draft.
Yeah, I don't hate that plan.
That's all I want. I don't overthink it.
They're sticking with Fields. They said they're sticking with him.
We're absolutely sticking with Fields. I'm even sticking with Tyson Bagent as my backup QB. I love Tyson Bagent as the backup. And then what I'm doing is, and listen, if they're actually losing these games like this, and Eberflus is so good of a coach that he's able to like go out, show that people are good, and then just like get the fucking game up. If that really is the plan, like
2 years of this, man.
But that really is the plan, and we have this Carolina pick. These guys are fucking geniuses. Like they're geniuses.
There's no way.
Because this is how I set myself up in Madden. You're right. This is how I set myself up.
This is what you do. Yeah.
3 first-round picks. If I can just get
you send the entire first season, you trade all
just
your
lose out. You bench your good players. You bench your good players. Yeah. Oldest trick in the book. And I'm like, I just need a leg up. I just need a little. And you have it now. You can't fuck it up, right? So I'm doing that. Or
they're literally going to have 2 top 5 picks. It's crazy.
Yeah, probably 2 and 3 would be my guess. And I think if not 1 and 3 or 1 and 4 or 1 and 2.
Carolina is the worst team in the league. You're getting one.
Patriots might be tanking fully now, but okay, but sure. So say we have 1 and 3.
Carolina's not going to win another game.
Say we have 1 and 3 though. Say we have 1 and 3. We trade with the 2 team and be like, give us a third rounder and the second pick, and you can have the fucking quarterback that you want. We're sticking with Fields. We get Marvin Harrison Jr. in the second overall pick. We get either the best left tackle in the draft, or if there's a phenomenal edge rusher, like a phenomenal edge rusher, who would take the best player. Just take the 2 best players. Whatever fucking position they play doesn't matter. Team needs everything. Like, take the 2 fucking best players that aren't quarterbacks, because we're sticking with Justin Fields. All right. You do that and you build from there. If you have DJ Moore and Marvin Harrison Jr. and you can't be a good quarterback, then we know. But we still have DJ Moore and Marvin Harrison Jr., so then we can go get somebody else, right? I mean, you have to be good if you have those guys. There's no excuses.
Marvin Harrison.
You see Marvin Harrison Jr. in the
that dude is elite. That dude is.
He's gonna be maybe the best wide receiver in the NFL in like 5 years. Good. Like his frame, like everything. I'm like, oh my god! Like I watch him play, and I'm like, oh, he's like AJ Brown, but like taller.
Also, Brock Bowers is also a specimen. I don't know if you've ever seen Brock Bowers play.
100%. Just go get the best guys. Go get the 2 best guys. That's what you do with first-round picks. You just go get the 2 best guys, and call it a day. To keep it simple, don't try and get cute. Just get the 2 best fucking guys in the draft, and they're going to stick out like sore thumbs in the NFL. They're just clearly going to be sick. Clearly, it's very rarely happens that the fucking best guy is not like clearly the best guy, right? Like,
I'm-
when you say exception to the quarterback position, because people get real thirsty for quarterbacks and they fucking draft quarterbacks super high. All the skill positions, the best guy is always clearly the best fucking guy. Am I wrong?
Listen, yeah, it's like Marvin Harrison Jr. So his draft stock right here is listed as, imagine if former Colts legend Marvin Harrison Sr. was 4 inches taller and 20 pounds heavier. That's a good way to explain his son as a prospect.
Oh my
Bro,
God.
he came out of Marvin Harrison's balls. All
We
right,
have to get him.
Come on.
Do you know that,
come on,
Bobby,
come
do you know
on.
that the memory that is seared into my brain of my team losing the only Super Bowl I ever saw them get to is busted fucking coverage of a strong
Marvin
safety
Harrison.
coming up, and Manning seeing it immediately and lobbing the easiest backyard football pass you'll ever fucking see in a Super Bowl over your fucking whole defense that has been sick all year. And Marvin Harrison just like casually catching it while running backwards. Basically, he's like running to the side, just drops into his cradle, and he just walks into the fucking end zone. And that's the end of your hopes of winning a Super Bowl for your whole life up until this point. If we don't make that motherfucker's kid a bear,
Full circle.
if we don't make that motherfucker's kid a bear, I am going to be beside myself. I need this. Who's next? The Jags.
Good.
How do we get the Jags to the Super Bowl?
The Texans implode, and they have an easy road to a high seed in the AFC.
You know what's funny? All roads to the lower wild card spots go through the Texans.
What's funny? That is funny. And also the Jags could end up with a 1 seed, depending on what their schedule looks like for the rest of the way.
Okay, so you want to hear what their schedule looks like? Because no.
Yes, they're not getting it. Okay.
I mean, it's debatable, maybe, but I don't know. Let's
they gotta get 2 home playoff games. I don't trust them on the road in the playoffs.
Okay,
they got to get 2
7-3.
home games.
They're 7-3. You ready?
Yeah.
You tell me win or loss, and I'll tell you what their record is after that. So Jags, Texans, they have to beat the Texans.
Yes, they have to. That's a must win for them.
8-3
to make this road.
They play the Bengals. They have to beat the Bengals. 9-3. Then they play the Browns and the Ravens. Now, hear me out on this. I think they can lose both of those games to put them at 9-5, and then go on to beat the Bucks to put them 10-5. The Panthers. Wait, am I missing a game? No. The Panthers to put them 11-5, and the Titans to put them 12-5. They can win out, and that gets them 2 home games.
You think 12? Yeah, probably. You're probably right.
And I think it does. What does their division look like?
They
win their division. They win their division.
You got to be the 2 seed to get the 2 playoff home games.
11
unless there's upsets and stuff like that.
11
so you got to be
the
2 seed.
But listen, it's 11-5. No, it can't. They can't then, because it's 11-5 and they lose to the Ravens in that scenario.
Right.
They have to lose to the Ravens. So then the Ravens are automatically above them. So no, they can't get 2 home games, which means they have to play.
Do you trust them to go on the road? So that means, do you trust them to go on the road against Baltimore? Because
maybe next year,
or whoever gets the 1, or Kansas City. I guess maybe Kansas City, but they've always had a Kansas City problem. So
they're not going to Arrowhead.
You know what I mean? They're not going to Arrowhead and winning. So
no way.
It's tough to make them a road.
Everyone has a fucking Kansas City problem at home in the playoffs. Kansas City at home in the playoffs. Come on, everyone's got that fucking problem, dude. That's the problem.
Because even if they go through Baltimore, that means Kansas City's is playing, Buffalo or someone like that at home,
right?
And that means Kansas City's going to the championship game, and that means they're gonna still have to go on the road to Arrowhead to get there. So it's like
the road to their Super Bowl dies in Kansas City at the latest. But I will give them a maybe next year tag. I like their team. I think they're young. I think they're plucky. I think the coaching is improved. I think they made decisive decisions to improve the coaching after a disastrous first Urban Meyer season for their high round quarterback. And I think they look good in a way that they might need another year to gel. And I think we might have to talk about them a lot more next year. But yeah, there's no way. I can't get them there. I can't find a path. Because even if they lose a couple of games, they're still in, they're still in playing like the Dolphins territory. The Dolphins are built to beat them.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah, we forgot about Dolphins too. Forgot about Dolphins.
No, we didn't. We're on
No,
the Jags.
but when I was just talking about them, about the Jags, I forgot about.
Oh,
Dolphins.
yeah. No, I'm saying we did the Texans kind of already, didn't we? Or should we do the Texans?
Yeah, do the Texans. Yeah, let's see if we can get them there.
Well, we did say all roads lead through Texas. So they play the Jags. They have to beat the Jags. It goes Jags, Broncos, Jets, Titans. They got to win 3 of those games.
There's a path that they win all those games, though. Is there not?
They actually have to win all of those games, to be actually honest.
They're right. There's a path they win.
They're 6-4. They're 6-4. So if they're going to win this division,
I would bet. I think they're favorites. And who is it? So Jags
and them. They're the underdog in that game.
Where it's in Jacksonville, right?
It's in Texas.
It is, and
yeah,
they're an underdog after beating them in Jacksonville. No shit.
Yep.
Oh, that's juicy. Okay.
Yep. I already took that. I told you that before we started the show. I already took that bet.
What is it? Plus what?
I got like plus 135 or something like that.
Oh, that's saucy, bro.
Yeah. That was a good bet. I enjoyed making it.
Sexy bet. Yeah.
Then they have to beat the Broncos. Then they have to beat the Jets. Then they have to beat the Titans. They can do all of that.
They're favored in all 3 of those games. And if they lose any of those games, they're frauds. Honestly.
Well, they're just not going to make it if they lose.
Right.
They have to win out. I'd say they can lose 1.
So then what do they got after that?
Let me frame it to you like this. They go Jags, Broncos, Jets, Titans, Browns, Titans, Colts. I think they can lose 1. I think they can lose 1. I think where they are, I mean, they're 6-4, right?
I kind of think they're a lock to make. What are they to make the playoffs? I kind of think they're a fucking lock to make the playoffs, man.
What about win the division? I told you I took that like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's almost a lock at this point, man.
I got that for like plus 155.
That's a cake. They should win every single one of those games. That's crazy.
I think they're going to go on a 7-game winning streak.
No, they're not going to.
13-4.
They're going to blow 1 or 2. They're going to blow 1 or 2 of those games for sure. But I think they
100% have it in them to get to 11 wins.
After the Bengals lost, man, I don't see a path. After the Bengals losing Burrow, I don't see a path they don't make the playoffs now. You know what I mean? Like, there's no one else that's going to go on that run.
Team.
Yeah. There's no one else that has a absolute path to 5-2 to finish it out, right?
So, say
AFC
on the lower side, right? Say on the lower side, they win 11 games, like total for the season. Can 11-6 get them? I mean, they've had to have won some road games. Like, they've had to have won some road games at this point, because the problem is they're 4-1 at home right now, and they're 2-3 away. So they have to get some sort of home field advantage on a better team than them, because they're going to be staring down the barrel of the Dolphins.
Yeah, you're right.
And if they have to go to Miami, that's where it ends. If they have to go to Miami, it's done.
Honestly, I wouldn't
want to go to Miami if I was anybody, to be honest. I know that they've been bullied a little bit. It's just where it is and all the factors.
Well, I don't trust Houston against anyone in the playoffs. I'm not saying that. I think that they have a cakewalk to the playoffs to get blown out by someone.
So we can't get them.
That's just better than them. Yeah, no, there's no way they're beating the elite of the AFC.
Okay, but a valiant season, and we're all looking forward to Jay Stroud's career
for sure.
Moving forward, and
hopefully he might already be the 3rd best quarterback in the league. It's very
I know. I mean, slim fucking pickings, but I will say this. I will be looking at what they're going to do in the offseason to get them some weapons, and how long they think they're going to wait, because I don't think you got to wait till year 3 on that guy. I think you can go again in year 2.
Agreed.
So let's see how that pans out. All right. I mean, like we tried. The Dolphins, I think we can get the Dolphins. This is the first team we can get to. We can get them to the Super Bowl. We can definitely do it.
I think so.
Here they are. First, they play the Jets, then they play the Commanders, then they play the Titans, then the Jets. So I'm going to stop.
All wins. They should win all those games.
1, 2, 3, 4. They should go on a 4-game winning streak to put their number at 11-3, looking real healthy, going into a run that says Cowboys, Ravens, Bills. Now let me pitch you something. They're 11-3. They're 11-3, and they're automatically a playoff team, right? They're automatically a playoff team, I think, if they have 11 wins, right? But it's disappointing.
Yep.
I think they need to win 2 of those 3 hard games for us to be saying they can do some shit.
Agreed. Yeah,
and I
I'm
think
with that.
one of them that I'm circling is the Bills game, because I think they need to take that win back. Like, that would be so good for their momentum, right? That would be so good for their momentum, right? Where if they could that one where they got bullied, they could go like, oh, well, we're making sure you don't make the playoffs. Like, they hand them the loss that sends the Bills crashing out of playoff contention, and none of their business anymore. I mean, I can see it. I can really
And
see it.
it's in Miami, and Miami's a tough place to play too.
It's a
So
tough place to play.
just
So if they can, who's the other team they beat? Because smart money would probably say the Cowboys. But I would honestly circle that Ravens game as one to watch, because that's going to be a shootout.
yeah. Speed on speed.
Speed on speed. So anybody could come away with that, and we're going to know a lot after the week.
Every time, right?
We did it! Yeah, hooray!
Yeah, so but like regardless, that gets them the division, right? Because
Yeah.
we're past the Bills.
Of course.
Dolphins are winning this division, so they're getting a home playoff game, and it's probably going to be against, either a Bills team in Miami, a Browns team in Miami, a Texans.
Can you look up the
in
odds for
Miami.
Dolphins' best record in the NFL? Because like they have a shot at 14-3. It's probably going to be 12 or 13 wins, but they have a shot at 14-3 still.
Eagles have the path to that though, man. It's pretty tough to unseat them on that, I think.
Well, we'll talk about that when we get to the Eagles, I guess. Can we put a pin in the Dolphins' potential to have the best record? And we'll take a look at how the Eagles don't.
It is Dolphins 19 to 1.
19 to 1?
Yeah, 19
plus
1900. Yeah.
That's a fucking great value bet. That's a great value bet.
That's not a bad one. They're even with the Cowboys right now.
Let's at least think about it when we get
which is right where they are in
well,
these PM.
That brings us, Robert, to the National Football Conference and the path to the Dallas Cowboys getting to the Super Bowl.
It's going to be easier than getting any AFC teams to the Super Bowl, if I'm being honest.
By strength of schedule, I don't agree. To be totally honest with you, by the quality of your team, I agree. I think that they're good enough to have the schedule I'm about to read to you, but there's some banana peels.
Yeah.
So you'll remember we talked about how it didn't really matter that much if you lost we took the games in threes before, and I said to you, it doesn't really matter that much if you lose the Eagles. What you need to do is you need to put on a good show, and then you need to go on and beat the Giants and the Panthers, because you have to win those games. They're must-win games. You can't be losing those teams. You remember?
Did we win those games? All right.
All that happened, right? That all happened. So now they're sitting pretty at 7-3, and you feel good about the record. This is why I was trying to talk you out of the doom and gloom of the loss to the Eagles, because I was like, you can afford a loss in these next 3 games. You got to just win 2 out of the next 3. This is how you strategize the season, and they did that. And now, since we've talked about that already, let me read you their next 3 games. They play the Commanders in Dallas. They play the Seahawks in Dallas, and then they play the Eagles in Dallas. This is another reason why it wasn't a big deal to go to Philadelphia and lose, because you can go 3 for 3. You can go 3 for 3 in that run. The Eagles are fallible. They're fallible. Fallible is the word I would use. They are not without flaw. They are not without fault. They are not without dents in their armor and ways to get to them. I think the Cowboys will be able to do it based on what I saw them do in Philadelphia. I mean, talk me out of it.
I'm not going to, because
great.
I don't disagree. If the Cowboys are a different team at home than they're on the road this year.
3 games in a row at home, real comfy.
And it's 3 in a row at home. That's the 3rd out of the 3, and hopefully it's a 2-0 winning streak going into that. So I don't disagree. The only thing that scares me is the Eagles look like a team that just seemed fucking destined to win these games somehow every fucking week.
So. I don't think so. I really don't. I think the Eagles are. They read to me like a team that's about to tip over, and their mistakes are going to start to bite them in the ass. They've gotten away with too many games.
What's very encouraging is the emergence of DeRon Bland, man. He's elite. 4 pick sixes this year. NFL record already, and we're like halfway through the fucking season. So that dude's awesome. And obviously that CD to Dak connection being hot is just next level.
Can I also tell you something else? Best possible time to have the Seahawks come and visit you right now. Like there was a period of time in this NFL season where it would have been like, ooh, I don't know, that's a tricky proposition. And the Seahawks lost a couple of kind of key games against a little bit better competition, and they turned out to kind of be frauds, if we're being honest.
If the Cowboys are if they actually do have a chance, right? So we're gonna try and make them a pass.
Yeah.
If they do have a shot at the Super Bowl, they blow the Seahawks out. They go in there and they show that, everyone's like, oh, they don't beat above average opponents. Seahawks aren't above average opponent, but the Cowboys are fucking.
I don't know.
They're
Let's see how the Seahawks look this week because I might be writing them off if they put in this similar kind of performance as they have the past like 4 to 5 weeks, but we'll see. But what really matters is you go 3 for 3 in those games. So that puts you at 10-3, because then you go into one that says Bills, Dolphins, Lions, and then the Commanders. So in those 4 games, you can win the Commanders
at the worst. 2-2 at the worst
would be fine. If you finish the season with 12 wins, right, and 5 losses, and you won that Eagles game, you're probably going to play.
We're going on the road. We're going on the road in the playoffs. We're not unseating the Eagles if we don't win. So the only way
you got to go win a very winnable game.
We got to win 2 out of 3 of those.
You got to go win a very winnable game in like Jacksonville then. Possibly. Or I don't think you're going to Buffalo. Not Jacksonville.
That's AFC.
Oh yeah, we're in the wrong. We're in the wrong fucking division, of course. We did too much AFC stuff.
If we're the highest wild card, we go into the NFC South. So first round we'd be going to either
Saints, Falcons,
New Orleans,
probably
Falcons,
Saints.
Bay, one of those.
Oh, you might be going to like Minnesota. You might be going to like Seattle, even. Like we'll see. Yeah, you're actually going to a garbage team your first round.
Because they're not winning a division. Any of those teams, it's one of those.
Yeah, but dude, like the whole standings, the NFC is bad. Like
but they automatically
not
get
a lot of
high
record teams.
So whoever wins that division gets that home playoff.
But like the Seahawks could come in second in the NFC West and make the playoffs
for sure.
But they're at 6-4 right now.
So division winners automatically get that though. So we'd be going today, right? If the season ended today, we'd be going to New Orleans first round.
Yeah, well, you could. That's what I'm saying. That's super winnable.
So we win. We probably win that game, and then after that, it would be we would face
the Lions,
the lowest remaining,
wild card team,
the lowest remaining non-1 seed.
Got it.
So we wouldn't.
So like the Vikings, possibly the Rams, maybe, probably not.
No, honestly, probably the 49ers. It is what it would be.
But they're going to be a 1 seed.
No, the Eagles.
Oh, no. Yeah, of course.
Eagles are going to be the 1 seed. So it would probably be the 49ers.
That's tough.
San Francisco. Right.
That's tough.
So like that's why the division is important, because we got to get that home playoff game, man. We got to get that path that avoids the Niners.
I don't think you're going to be. I don't think you're going to. I think
it gives us that soft team in that
second round. You're 2 games back on the Eagles already.
We're gonna be underdogs in that second round, and it's gonna be tough.
If you're handing them their third loss of the season in that game we just talked about in Dallas, if you're handing them their third loss, like you might be in really, really good shape to possibly win that division. So you're saying if you do that, then who do you play? You play the Lions.
Yeah, exactly.
But in Dallas,
the Lions.
But in
Dallas, right.
So that's your path.
No. If we have to win the division.
That's what I'm saying. That's literally what I'm saying.
If we win the division, we play the Lions.
You play the Lions, and then So like, I actually think that actually is your path. If the regular season is your way home, you have to win more games than the Eagles to get.
I also think
this year,
if we found a way to go to Detroit instead of San Francisco, and it was like in Detroit,
but if you win your division,
we could win in Detroit too.
I think you might be able to, but maybe. But if you feed the Eagles and the 49ers to each other, that's your best bet, is what we're saying.
Agreed.
If you can find a way to feed them to each other early,
Correct.
that gets you to the promised land. And probably
gets us at least to a championship. It gets us to at least play for the Super Bowl.
This is our first. We've gotten our first team to the Super Bowl. Who do you plan to get
opportunity there? I at least have an opportunity to play for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I don't know how.
I'll take it.
I don't know how good you think that is, but it's not as good as you think. To lose in the Super Bowl, it's not. I wish it never happened to me. I don't
even have to lose in this. I just want to make it to an NFC. I've never seen the Cowboys in an NFC Championship game.
All right, well, we just got them there, and now we have to decide who in the AFC they're gonna play, and if it's the Ravens, you win a Super Bowl. How about that?
Okay, yeah. Chiefs are tough.
If it's the Chiefs, you do not win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the Ravens. That means Lamar's like done it in the playoffs at that point, and they're probably gonna win. I'll be honest with you.
Micah would have to play out of his mind for us to beat the Ravens.
The Dolphins would have to make it to the Super Bowl for you to win the Super Bowl. They would have to have had a path.
But also that means we've made it to the Super Bowl. Don't forget that.
Right.
That means Dak. That means Dak has been elite Dak for like 3 straight weeks.
I think the way that we get you to the Super Bowl is Jalen Hurts and the Eagles beat the 49ers because you
and then we play the Eagles.
And then the Eagles have to come to Dallas, and the Eagles have already taken an L in Dallas that season because they doesn't matter get us in this scenario.
If it's a championship game, I'm not sure home field matters if it's Eagles Cowboys. That would be such an epic fucking, you know what I mean? That would be like the rivalry.
I think because you have 51-49 because you have 51-49, which you'll take because the margins are very fine at that level. When you go to the NFC Championship game, since you've never been, let me illuminate what happens when your team goes to an NFC Championship game because I've seen a couple in my life. No, I'm being a cunt. I'm sorry. But here's what happens. The better team wins. The team that's clearly better wins in conference championship games. You go like, oh shit. Like when I watched Drew Brees and the Saints have to come to Chicago with the year we went to the Super Bowl in the championship game, and we just styled on. Like we were like Brian Urlacher was like batting down balls in his face and like getting in his face. And Drew Brees was just like, motherfucker. And like Peanut Tillman was like punching balls out of guys' fucking cradles, like left, right, and center. We were converting on fumbles. Our running game was unstoppable all night. It was a party. It's the Golden Globes.
Frauds get exposed.
Frauds get exposed. And you don't get to go to the Super Bowl that often as a fraud. It's happened. Raiders Bucks comes to mind. But like I think it's pretty rare, and like that's what happens. So if you've got the fucking juice and you've got the marbles, you have a party in the NFC Championship game. Like wearing the NFC Championship hats and the fucking confetti on the field, and you get teed up with all the best lines. You go like, you can do job's not done. You can do, we're back at work on Monday. You can do whatever you want. You can it's just, you're set up for success because you're going to the show. You're going to the fucking show, baby.
Bro,
nobody can take that away from you.
I vowed to myself if we went to a Super Bowl, I'm going because it's been so long. So like,
that's amazing. I really want that for you, and I wish that I want to give that some positive energy into the universe.
So the Dolphins we can beat. Chiefs I don't think we can beat.
If the Niners get to the NFC Championship game, you're not going to the Super Bowl.
Correct.
Sorry.
Correct. I agree with
that's
that.
That's just a
100%.
sober part of the conversation. Okay, we got to get the Lions to the Super Bowl.
All right. They get the 1 seed. They're
about
the Eagles. The Eagles trip up in these next few games, which they might because they have a tough, stretch.
I think they are going to get the 1 seed. To be honest with you, I know you said Eagles.
So that's
Cowboys and 49ers have an outside shot, but I really do think it's between the Eagles and the Lions.
It is. That's who it's between for sure. That's how they get there, though, right?
Well, let's run down. Let's run it down. They just lost to the fucking. They just nearly lost to the Bears. That wasn't a good look.
Right. Let me look at the playoff picture because right now, if there's some upsets too, I feel like they can definitely get there if they get the 1 seed because that means they'll play one of these wildcard teams and they can definitely beat, in a team that's, not as good as them. That if they don't have to face the Eagles in that next round, if they don't have to face the fucking the Cowboys in that next round if they don't have to
So I
face
think
one
I can
of
get
the
them to
elite
6.
of the
I think
NFC.
I can get them to 6-1 over their next 7 games. Do you want to hear how I can do it? I think
Go ahead.
I'm going to read you all 7 games, and I'm going to tell you that they can lose one of them, and I think that that's achievable. And it probably isn't even the obvious one, but let's do it.
Okay, go ahead.
They play the Packers in Detroit, the Saints in New Orleans, the Bears in Chicago,
Win.
the Lions in Detroit, the Vikings in Minnesota, the
They have the
Cowboys.
Lions.
Oh, sorry, the Broncos in Detroit, the Vikings in Minnesota, the Cowboys in Dallas, and the Vikings in Detroit.
So they just lose to the Cowboys, right?
Realistically, yeah, but like maybe they steal that game, and maybe they lose one of their divisional games, like maybe to the Bears. Who knows? In Chicago, I'm pretty much like never not confident of beating the Lions in Chicago, to be honest with you. Like even when they're good, I'm pretty confident that we beat them. We beat Minnesota and Chicago a lot too, so they're probably gonna lose 2 of those games. I don't think they're gonna get the 1 seed. I don't see it. It's too many games, I think, is the problem. It's hard to find wins, and like it's hard to not find a couple losses in 7 games. And they have so many divisional games. Like they have 2 Vikings games, a Packers game, and a Bears game. They have 4 out of their next 7 games are divisional games in a division that I swear to you beats each other up. Regardless of what you think of those other 3 teams, I promise you, I've been watching this division my entire life. They always beat each other up. Look at that.
Yeah, for sure.
Look at that Lions-Bears
all
game.
division games are that way.
Yeah, look, that Lions-Bears game was 31-29, you know, like, and it was a great comeback and like good for them. And it was embarrassing for the Bears, but I'm thinking maybe the Bears just said, fuck it, let them walk it. But divisional games are like that. So it's hard for me to see them getting the best record, to be honest. It really is. Even though I like them.
So
their defense is suspect.
So in that scenario, if they don't, right? If they don't, that means they play the Vikings in the first round. If it ended today, it could be the Packers. Probably not. It's going to be the Vikings. They have a 2-game lead on the wild card right now, actually. So it's probably going to be the Vikings on that final wild card spot.
I mean, not to be that guy, but like I don't know if the Josh Dobbs take looked as good after that fucking performance. I don't know how good the Vikings.
It was a rough week, but they're so the next thing is the next best team is the Packers at 4-6. So or the Rams at 4-6, Falcons 4-6, Tampa Bay 4-6. Those are the contenders for that final wild card spot. So that's who the Lions are looking at playing in that first round. So their path, right, is that there's an upset in that first round. Regardless, they're getting a second round home playoff game because they're that 2 seed. So they're getting it no matter what if they win that first game.
Yeah.
So they're either going to play the Cowboys on the road or Cowboys at home or, the Seahawks. They win that game, and then they have a championship game against either the Eagles, 49ers, or the Cowboys. And if it's if it's the Cowboys, it's at home. I mean, it's there. It's there. There is a path for them to get there.
Do you remember? Can I
unless they run into the Eagles or the 49ers, in my opinion.
But
they can beat the Cowboys. I don't see it, but they can beat them.
What if they run into the Ravens in the Super Bowl? Do you remember what the Ravens did to them?
Yeah.
If the Chiefs make it to the Super Bowl, 0% chance they beat the Chiefs. If the Ravens get there, I got good money.
I think it's like 10% they could beat them.
They got like a 10% shot, but that whooping was bad the first time around. I don't know if I would want to see that Super Bowl. I don't know if I'd be super excited. I don't know if I'd be super excited about that Super Bowl, to be honest with you. I don't know if I'd be like loving that matchup.
Lions Jags would be fun.
I don't see the Jags getting there, to be honest. We couldn't get them there.
Either, but
we already couldn't get them there. We tried. We couldn't get them there.
That's a Madden Super Bowl you see pop up.
That's the convenient part.
Jags?
Yeah, you're right, actually. But that's the really convenient part of the fact that we already tried to get them there. There's no scenario that we could think of where they, we've done the deep dive. They're not going to be able to play the Jags. So, yeah, you can just name teams that aren't going to make the Super Bowl that they could potentially beat, but that really defeats the purpose of the exercise, unfortunately. Can I tell you about the Chiefs cakewalk to the fucking playoffs?
Yeah.
It's a race.
Chiefs?
We're the Chiefs, number 4.
Okay.
I think they should be higher, but I mean, they're going to be. Like, listen to this schedule. This is bananas. It's race to the 1 seed for the Chiefs. Here's who they're in a race with: the Ravens, the Jags, and the Dolphins. That's the race. You could maybe put the Browns in there. I wouldn't.
No, Browns are getting the 1.
They're in a race to the 1 seed with the Ravens, the Jags, and the Dolphins, right? Here's how they get to the 1 seed. Here's the path. They play the Raiders and beat them. They play the Packers and beat them. They play the Bills and beat them. They play the Patriots and beat them. They play the Raiders and beat them. They play the Bengals without Joe Burrow and beat them. And then they play the Chargers to finish their season. I hate to tell you, they're about to win 7 games in a row and finish with 14.
The thing is, they could lose any of those games, though.
I don't think that they can.
If their receivers don't catch the fucking ball.
Yeah, but I think that they were like a tweak away. That's what I got. And here we finally are. I think they were a tweak away on Thursday. I'm sorry, on Monday against the Eagles. I think that they were a couple of little tweaks away. When Patrick Mahomes, when Travis Kelce had a drop, and Mike called this out even in the chat, and Mahomes was like, okay. And he went back to him like 3 to 4 more times to just be like, catch this one, catch this one, catch this one. I was like, this dude is so fucking good. And like the way he was throwing the ball, the way the ball was leaving his hands, it was like curving perfectly in the air into like the cradle of the, like, these were the most catchable balls that I've like, that was the big disruption between the two moments. Like they looked so pretty and so catchable. And they were just dropping into, like there was that one throw out to the left side to get him a first down on that run early to, I want to say it was Rice. And he just,
where he made the move and like went.
He made the move, but he threw it and then it like dropped down vertically out of the air right into the guy's hands. Like it just died in the exact right spot and just fucking fell into the dude's hands. And I was like, holy fucking shit, this guy is unbelievable. Like he continues to fucking amaze me every time I watch him play football. And it's a crime, honestly, that we have to watch this gang of chuckle fucks try and catch these.
It's a crime, bro.
Beautifully catchable passes. Beautifully. If anybody wants to come on this podcast and tell me that Patrick Mahomes is in some way like not throwing the right balls, or this is in any way or even 1% his fault, I will literally make sure you never watch this sport ever again. I will, when I'm done with you, you'll be like fucking corn off the cob, because that would be the dumbest fucking football take I ever heard in my goddamn life. I've never seen a more obvious. You could have never watched football in your life and you'd be like, that guy seems good. Nobody seems to be doing the thing. It's the drops are so crazy. They're so crazy because the balls look so easy to fucking catch, Bob. Like Valdez Scantling, they should take one of his names away. Like you're down, you're Valdez or Scantling, pick one, because you don't deserve 3 names. Oh my God. Next, you're going to be asking for a 2 to 3 initial start to your name with a last name. You're not J.R.R. Tolkien. You're not Marquez Valdez Scantling. You're Mike now. Okay, Mike, catch the ball, Mike. Catch the ball, Mike.
Is that a subtle shot at Mike?
No, it's just a name I thought of. Maybe I got Mike on the brain.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he occupies a lot of my thoughts, if I'm being honest.
He would say rent free.
I wouldn't charge him rent. I love having him over. He's a wonderful chap.
You know what's funny right now about the Chiefs is, so if they don't get the 1 seed, right? You know who they get in the first round, which would be the funniest playoff game ever. And it would be funny for me, and probably not for you. It would probably be a very long day for you.
Who?
The Steelers?
Yeah. What if the Steelers win that? What if the Steelers win that game 13?
Like 13. Oh 13, my God. Shut up, bro. That would be the most frustrating.
I'm on the show the week before, like, well, here's how you beat Patrick Mahomes is you limit him to like, and this is what the Steelers do. Like, you can hear it in your head already. It's going to haunt your nightmares, bro.
What's funny, though, is like, so the Steelers are on this list, right?
Do you want to try and get into the Super Bowl?
For very good reason. They're not getting into the Super Bowl.
Come on, you want to try?
No, there's not a fucking chance in hell. Listen,
well then it'll be a short exercise.
I already made this comparson today.
Then it'll be a short exercise. Let's do it.
They are the Iowa Hawkeyes of the NFL, man. The most guaranteed bets in football every single week is the under in the Iowa game and the under in the Pittsburgh Steelers game. They can't make it low enough for me to be like, oh, I
dude, I've got like super bad news, bro. Like, I think I can talk you into it.
You can't.
Can you just listen for a second?
Yeah, you can't do it.
The Steelers are currently 6-4, right? In the best division of the AFC. So they're in a race with the Texans, the Broncos, and the Bills to get into the playoffs. Essentially, they're probably going to make it. If I'm being honest,
They're the worst team out of that group.
Okay, I don't think that's true. I think they're better than the Broncos.
They're probably better than the Broncos. They're
not. You don't have to be a dick. I think they're better than the Texans as a team. Like I think they don't. But they are, dude. They don't have a.
Their ceiling is nowhere near the Texans though.
But the Texans are going to hit their ceiling. The Texans are going to hit their.
But the Steelers, listen, until
TJ Watt is not on the Texans.
Cannot score more than 16 points. They can't do it.
I can see in my head CJ Stroud running for his life against CJ Watt.
If a team can score 3 touchdowns, they beat the Steelers.
But they often don't let them do that, Bob. In fact, more often than not. Like I've literally just been telling you this all season, and more often than not, they don't let them do that. Like nobody scores points on them. They play the Bengals in Cincinnati. They play the Cardinals in Pittsburgh. They play the Patriots in Pittsburgh. They play the Colts in Indianapolis. They play the Bengals in Pittsburgh. They play the fucking Seahawks in Seattle. And then they play the Ravens in Baltimore. I think they can win 5 of those games because they're going to win 5 of those games. And then they're going to lose 2 of them. And they're probably going to not lose the obvious ones. That puts them at 11-6. And that puts them in the playoffs. And I don't think it does put them playing the fucking Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are playing probably the Texans still or the Broncos maybe, which puts, I think, the Steelers probably against the Browns, right?
Can I list teams that have more points for?
Can you just answer my fucking question?
Yes,
that's ended 13-10. So I can see a path to them getting past the Browns in the first round. Then they'll play, if your calculations are correct, perhaps a Chiefs team, maybe in Pittsburgh. Maybe in Pittsburgh. There's a world where the Chiefs don't get a better record than the Steelers. Maybe the Chiefs are coming.
But they're going to win the division. The Steelers aren't winning the division.
Oh, yeah, good point.
It's not happening.
There's no way the Broncos catch the Chiefs.
Yeah, there's no fucking
What
way.
if okay, I got another path. All right, that didn't work. What if then, after they beat the Browns, the Bills have won their division and they have to go to Buffalo? That's a winnable game. And that's a possible thing that could happen. That could happen.
Yeah, I mean,
the Bills are only 1 game back on the Dolphins. I know it's
they would have to not be the lowest wild card seed. But that's not happening because
that might happen because that means the Broncos are who we thought they are, and they've won more games. They won more games.
They have less points this year than the fucking they have 3 more points than the Carolina Panthers do all season. Excuse me. They have less points than the Cardinals do all season.
They have more points than the Jets, who you were talking 2 weeks ago about as a potential playoff team. They have more points than the Patriots. So that's
the Patriots are
they got more points than the Giants. They got more points than all the teams I just named. And guess what? They got better defenses. They got a better defense than all the teams I just named. All the teams I just named by a lot. By a lot.
It's not happening.
They could beat the Bills in Buffalo. Look me in the eye and tell me that you don't think that the Steelers can beat the Bills in Buffalo.
I hope we get a nice blowjob for this. I hope it's nice. And
it's not why I do this. I resent the implication. Honestly, I resent the implication. Here's why. Don't call into question the integrity of my takes. I believe this. I believe it. And I'll tell you something. The last time I was sticking up for the Steelers this much, they won 11 games in a fucking row. You try to put this revision
I know.
on that
yeah,
tape.
I know.
Like, oh, you remember that crazy year you said the Steelers were good when they rattled off 11 fucking wins in a row and we were trying to build a fucking podcast based on conflict? Listen, they might have 11 wins this year. 11 might be the magic fucking number. Matt Canada is gone. Who knows?
That's the upside.
Who knows? Who's going to come in? What if there's some wunderkind out there?
Don't know what the play calling is gonna be because it's been so bad that it's calling into question if he was trying to sabotage the team.
It can't get.
You know what I mean?
Definitely can't get any worse.
Bro, he was running. To Leah, I'm sorry, I degraded her on account of her team. I feel awful. I've been thinking about it. I'm like, wow, that was a dick move.
That's a human being, Bobby.
That is a human being, and I'm very sorry about that. You know,
Oh my
I'm going
God.
over.
It's it's really honestly, it's just some deep seated misogyny in sports. But you know, we're kicking down barriers here.
No, I'm trying to better myself as a human being lately. Okay, that's one of my goals of the past few weeks. So like, I apologize for
it's a solid goal.
know.
Apology not accepted. Unless you say the Steelers can make the Super Bowl, I can speak on her behalf. She would want me to say this. Unless you can see it. No, okay, it's fine. It was fun. It was fun exercise. They probably are not going to Super Bowl. I'm sorry, babe.
They're not going to Super Bowl.
We kind of did the Chiefs. Let's do the Niners.
Chiefs can get to the Super Bowl pretty easily.
Okay, well, we all know how that works. They just beat everybody, which they can do.
They would. Yeah. Okay.
The Ravens are probably going to be their biggest challenge, right? And that's not going to happen until the conference championship game.
Yeah, without the Bengals there, I guess, and just the Ravens, yeah.
But we did race to the 1 seed, and the thing is, I think that the Chiefs could get the 1 seed. If the Ravens get the 1 seed and the Chiefs have to go to Baltimore, I still would bet on the Chiefs. I would still be like, if the Chiefs are going to win, it's the Chiefs. You know what I mean?
It'd be tough to go against Mahomes as an underdog. You know what I mean? I've never seen it before, so it'd be tough.
That'd be crazy. Mahomes would come in there and beat you. He just would. Let's do the 49ers.
Okay.
They're 7-3. Here's their path. Seahawks, Eagles, Seahawks, Eagles, Seahawks, Cardinals, Ravens, Commanders, Rams.
Lose 2, maybe 1.
I think they could lose. They can't. They have to either beat the Ravens or the Eagles, because the Eagles are who they're in a race with. They're still in the race for the 1 seed. I know the Eagles have to lose games, but if the Cowboys are in an outside shot for the 1 seed, they're only 1 game back from the Lions, who we said are the second place team. So I think the 49ers are the third place team in the race for the 1 seed right now. They're the third most likely to get it, probably. So they beat the Seahawks, they beat the Eagles, they beat the Seahawks, they beat the Cardinals. If they go 4-0 and they're 4-0 going into that Ravens game, and the Ravens have maybe stumbled or that's, they're having a down week or something, then they can beat the Rams and the Commanders. I'd say they lose 1.
But the thing with the Niners is, like, regardless of how they finish, right? I feel confident they can go on the road against any of these NFC teams and beat them. Right?
So they could finish with 13 or 14 wins.
Yeah, and even if that's behind the Eagles,
even if they finish with 12 or 13 wins, you're saying they could go to Philadelphia and win.
They can go to Philly and
I agree.
100%.
I agree.
So like their path isn't that hard, because it's like, regardless of the path they take to get there, I could see it.
They could go to Detroit and win.
If Purdy's healthy, yeah, they can go to Dallas and win. They can go anywhere and win.
They will win if they have to go to Dallas.
that team can beat anyone, anywhere, anytime. So,
is there anyone from the AFC who are the teams in the AFC that stop the run? It's either the Ravens or the Chiefs. Include the Dolphins.
I think the Ravens give them the hardest problem. I don't think the Chiefs have enough weapons to beat that defense. I don't.
Patrick Mahomes has been to the Super Bowl.
I know, man, but like,
Brock Purdy is going to take a team. Look, he's having a good year.
Bob,
you're looking at me in the fucking eye. You're looking at me in the face right now.
Torching the 49ers defense, or like Kadarius Toney having a big game against that defense. I don't see it.
You think that Brock Purdy is going to take a team to the Super Bowl and beat Patrick Mahomes?
It's possible.
You don't sound sure.
I think that they're not going to beat Pat Mahomes. They're going to beat his wide receivers.
If Brock Purdy takes an NFC team, the San Francisco 49ers, with all their weapons, and it's Brock Purdy leading them on a hot streak into the Super Bowl and beats Pat Mahomes, I'm calling this the worst NFL year of the whole podcast. The absolute most garbage NFL year of the entire podcast.
That's fair.
It's 23-24, because that would just be so depressing, and I would just lose so much faith in the product if Brock Purdy can go to the fucking Super Bowl and beat fucking Patrick Mahomes. That's crazy talk. The problem is the path system. Once you're in this top 4, everyone's got a path. Everyone's got a path, and it's an obvious path. So let's do the exercise, and we'll call it a night. Chiefs, Niners, Eagles, Ravens. We got 2 AFC teams. We got 2 NFC teams. The Niners see the Eagles in the NFC Championship game. You're taking the Niners?
Yeah, I am. Yes.
The Ravens see the Chiefs. The Ravens see the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. I'm taking the Chiefs.
It depends. If it's in Kansas City, it's 100% the Chiefs. If it's in Baltimore, man,
Didn't we kind of say on this exercise that we're more confident in the Chiefs getting the 1 seed than the Ravens, though?
Yeah, I guess. But
let's do the Ravens.
No.
Let's do the Ravens. We didn't even do them. So
yeah, what's the Ravens schedule?
Well, they actually have 6 games left because they just beat the Bengals. They get the Chargers in Los Angeles, the Ravens in Baltimore, or the Rams in Baltimore, the Jaguars in Jacksonville, the Niners in San Francisco, the Dolphins at home, and the Steelers at home. Yeah, no, the path to the 1 seed is so much easier for the Chiefs.
Yeah, it is.
They have a lot of tough games. In fact, Ravens strength of schedule. If the Ravens get the 1 seed with the strength of schedule they have, they're actually might become my favorites. Yeah, they might become my favorites. Like that. I want to pencil in. I want to say the Chiefs win it all. But if the Ravens really do get the 1 seed with that fucking schedule, that's a slog.
Let's see what they look like without Andrews, though. Losing Andrews is big.
I know that offense might fall apart. His stats when he's not on the field. Lamar's stats when Andrews isn't on the field.
They take a dip. They take a dip for sure.
They're real rough looking, dude. Real rough.
Yeah.
He's his favorite target, so we'll see. I like the idea of Odell getting more looks because he's looked really healthy and good. That's why I traded you kind of like the farm.
I figured.
Well, I was just thinking I gave you guys that weren't really seeing the field but might help you, and I was like,
I didn't really give a fuck. It looked
high
fair.
upside bench guys though. Like high upside bench guys, I was like, I gotta make a throw to see if this dude can like just look really good on my starting team. Like he might.
I was hoping to take down Mike this past week. Didn't work out though.
You look good for a minute.
It did. It looked good.
I liked
Jalen Warren. Jalen Warren took off, and I was like, bro, let's go. But
I hear you. I did enjoy watching my notification to our fantasy football league come up, and it's saying Mike's team, can I borrow $5, has dropped Joe Burrow. Even though I was depressed about Joe Burrow, I just thought it was kind of funny. It's like,
so is when the namesake gets dropped.
Yeah. It'd be like if I dropped Pickle Rick.
My guy.
Pickle Rick. That's how I play fantasy football too. I play with that attitude. I'm Pickle Rick. All right. Not much has changed, but everything, as always, stays the same. Ladies and gentlemen, we have had the privilege, the honor, nay, the pleasure to discuss the National Football League with you this evening. I have been, still am, and will remain DK Sizzle. He has been, currently is, and will also continue to be the real BK Bob Kelly. This has been, and always will be, to infinity and beyond, the Power Ranking Show on Missing the Point. Godspeed. Hug your kids. Have a lovely evening or morning. Have a lovely rest of your day.
Welcome, explorers of the human experience. This is Let's Talk Soul, and I'm your host, Claudia Monticelli. We're not afraid of the great mysteries of existence here. Soul versus consciousness, we're on it. Spirituality versus science, we've got that covered too. Join us in navigating these profound topics with wisdom, curiosity, and a dash of audacity. Whether you're a spiritual veteran or just starting your journey, Let's Talk Soul is your passport to the unknown. Let's Talk Soul, diving into the depths of the human spirit. Subscribe now wherever you get your podcasts.
Are you passionate about saving the planet for future generations? Do you want to learn how to do it? If yes, then you need to tune in to the Nature Backed podcast. It's a talk show covering the changing world around us, from renewable energy, sustainable agriculture, circular economy, to ESG and social innovation. Don't miss this opportunity to discover how you can join the movement and make a difference. Subscribe to the Nature Backed podcast today on your favorite platform and get ready to be amazed.
Electricast.